Louis Chapel Missionary Baptist Church eulogized George Perry Floyd in Rayford, North Carolina. I was struck by the thing that he kept saying. He would say, his name was George Floyd, but Perry Jr. is what they call it. He would tell a story about George Floyd's biography, about this man the whole world was mourning, and simultaneously remind us that this man, George Floyd, was also called Perry Jr. In my mind, Reverend Stackhouse was making a rhetorical move known in the African American community as signifying. He was telling us something by the words he chose, by the inflections he chose, by repeating a singular phrase over and over again for effect. He was saying to everyone watching who had only recently learned this man's name in the darkest hour of his life, you know him, but we know him, right? You get it? We know him. Because he and the mourners in that church knew he had other names, intimate names, shorthand names, names that distinguished him in his large family. I know something about that as the youngest of 6 kids, who distinguished him in his large family. They grew up with him, names that people who loved him chose to break down the formalities. Also knew George Floyd in ways the world did not. See, because I was born in the same year as George Floyd, and I grew up on the southeast side of Houston like George Floyd, I can't say for sure, but I can somehow see in my mind's eye that him as a talented athlete at Jack Yates High School. I don't know for sure, but I am almost positive that as a young man, he drove or at least rode down the. But we also know that he was also struggling under the systems of oppression. Lascinia's baby boy, child of the Most High. Most people, but Perry Jr. was what they called him.